From the biggest and brightest stars to the last round pick, we have you covered for everything on Underdog Fantasy. Let's get into it and let's get that money, baby.
Cracking, y'all. It's your boy Ray G, and I'm excited because we are going to talk about a team that I drafted, a team that you could draft to help you win $3 million over on Underdog Fantasy. 3 M's. They're actually giving away about $15 million in prizes, but we're going to take down this BBM4 tournament, take home that $3 million. So on this show and on these shows moving forward, I want to review some drafts that I've done. I plan on putting a bunch of entries into this tournament, and I hope you do as well. And there's a lot of people out there that still have questions about best ball. What is Underdog? How does this work? And the best way to explain it is, if you love fantasy football, but you just don't have the time, right? You got a lot going on. You don't need to be managing this and paying attention to that. That's why Underdog Fantasy is beautiful. You ain't got to manage none of that shit. Draft your team, draft a dope team, make sure they score points. You don't have to trade anybody. You don't have to do anything. Draft the team, set it, forget it, collect your cash at the end of the day after the NFL season is over. So we're going to go through one of the teams that I drafted and sort of walk you through my process. I think this is a better flow. We will do some of these live and have some fun with people in the chat and in the comments, but really just talking through mistakes, areas of value, tools that I use in order to try to construct the team the best way possible. And there's a lot of different video sources out there, a lot of articles, a lot of literature on how to approach this type of tournament. It's big. It's a big-ass tournament. It's the biggest fantasy football tournament out there. So if you want to try it out, especially after you watch this video, see some of the tools that we use, it's a dope opportunity to do it damn near risk-free. All you got to do is use the promo code WAKEUP, and with that promo code, you will get your money matched dollar for dollar up to $100. So you throw in $100, they'll match you $100. You use the promo code WAKEUP, and you get access to my Discord community, which is going to encompass a lot of the tools that we talked through today. So really, if you want to do this, you want to jump down, there's no better way to do it besides getting your money matched if you're a first-time depositor. You get access to a Discord channel for free where people are talking about this shit 24/7, literally day and night. But let's go ahead and dive into this one. This was team 55 that I drafted. Ball Mania for Team 55, and I'm going to walk you through the same process I do every single time before I start one of these drafts, is I look at some of the tools that we have. I like to look at, Jay Rich, my partner in crime, created this beautiful sheet for us to look at floor weeks, to look at spike weeks, to look at the fantasy points per game from last season, to look at the warp per game that these players achieved last season. This is very important. This column right here, warp, wins over replacement player. How many times were these individuals truly winning you weeks? And this is what this data sort of tells you right here. And then we got it all categorized and sorted out by rounds. And you can look at ADP, spike weeks when you're looking at the players that had those boom weeks where they finished as some of the top fantasy performers at their position. You could filter all that out. Floor weeks, making sure they don't bust for you. How many times you got them in the lineup and they are actually producing for you. So I use this every single time to sort of just get an idea of the players I want to target based on the draft slot that I get randomized. You also want to look at the scoring matrix. More people over here at our team doing dope stuff that we're giving out for free, but really checking out what these players do, where the pockets of value are. I know if I get a top 4 quarterback, that's damn good, right? They're giving me on average 24, 25 points per game. But look at the drop-off from QB 1 through 4 through there. Every single position you can kind of see in this scoring matrix, pockets and windows of opportunity to build your team. And one of the coolest things, and shout out to Dynasty Cooper and his warp tool, coincides with everything that we were talking about over here on this sheet, but you can actually visibly see this. And let me show you the application of this, and it's going to make a ton of sense for you real quick. Right here, that color position right there, that gold line, that's for the tight end. That's Travis Kelce right there. When you're looking at how good he was versus his peers on the season, it is a significant drop-off from tight end 1, Travis Kelce, down to tight end 2. Then it sort of levels out there with 2 and 3. But as you just look at this chart and see where the pockets of sort of similarities and sameness are, Why would you reach for wide receiver 18 when you're getting damn near the same type of value as you are with wide receiver 28, right? So these are some of the tools and some of the processes that I deploy every single time before I start one of these, because it's important just to kind of base yourself, get a ground foundation, and you get access to this by just using that promo code if you sign up. But let's dive into this draft. I was drafting out of the 3-hole in this one. Right here, we'll take the underdog banner off. We'll keep it on. We'll keep the underdog banner on. Got to show love to UD. But I was drafting out of the 3-hole. And most of the times you see these things go, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, it's chalk, it's pretty standard. And then you got like a decision to make. Do you want to go running back with Christian McCaffrey? Do you want to take Cooper Kupp? Do you want to go Travis Kelce and get crazy and take him at the 3 spot? So for me, my thought process is I wanted to stack week 17. Now, you're going to hear a lot of different people throughout your research and reading articles and watching videos about stacking different strategies. Ultimately, this is what it is. I want to make it simple for you because I want you to play. You want the players that you draft to pop off and go bonkers in week 17, because that's the championship. There's a lot that you got to do to get there, but draft like you're right, damn it. And if you draft like you're right, you want to make sure you stack. You have all the good stuff from those week 17 matchups. And I know in week 17, the Miami Dolphins get the Baltimore Ravens, and that should be a high-scoring affair, hopefully if Tua's healthy. So I know immediately when I went Tyreek Hill, the first thing I did is I looked for Dolphins and I looked for Ravens, and I queued them up, Dolphins and Ravens. I know that I wanted those two teams right off the bat. So we go through the first round, start with Tyreek Hill, feeling really good. Then in round 2, kind of looking at the board, Derrick Henry gone, a little early for me for Henry. Saquon Barkley off of the board, would love to get him. And then I was at this kind of spot, right? Do I want to take a quarterback? Do I want to take Mahomes because he's great, or Jalen Hurts because he's great? And remember how great they were. You go over here, you look at the warp tool right here, and you'll see your quarterback position right here. There goes your top 3 quarterbacks, right? You go to our Google sheet right here where you have all this. You sort through all of that. You just want to look at the top quarterbacks. Surprise, surprise. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. It all coincides with one another. You look at those guys. They're the only quarterbacks that were all getting you 80% minimum floor weeks right there between those guys. And then you got those big spike weeks out of those quarterbacks. So just a little tip, like once, if I get an Allen, a Mahomes, a Hurts, I'm really not even looking to pair another quarterback with those guys until much, much later. But I decided to pass on both of those difference makers, and I went with another receiver. You got to start 3 receivers in this format. Even though I didn't get Hurts, I got a piece of a good offense, right? Devontae Smith, fantastic young receiver. In my mind, what do? Eagles play the Cardinals week 17. Not an attractive matchup, but you want to make sure you've got some correlation in that game. Correlation, I want some Eagles, I want some Cardinals. So already in my mind, that's the process, and I'm feeling good. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith. Here's where I think for most underdog drafters, round 3, this is the pivot point. This is sort of what really sets the direction of the team that you're going to construct. And at this point in time, Hurts is off the board. Mahomes is gone. Jacobs and Ramondre Stevenson. It was really T. Higgins for me. I was ecstatic. I thought about Mark Andrews there, that top tight end. But remember, looking at that warp, big drop-off after Travis Kelce. I can find some tight end value later, or I can get real nasty, which I did in this one. So with T. Higgins, once I made that move to get T. Higgins, the shift went a little bit from the Ravens and the Dolphins to their week 17 matchup, which most underdog drafters are going to try to draft for. Kansas City versus Cincinnati week 17 should be a scoring bonanza in that one. Watch the rest of the round play out, and I'm just hoping Joe Cool falls to me. His ADP is about 45, and I get it, right? I personally enjoy waiting on quarterback because there's so much value here, and there are so many quarterbacks that you can grab later. And in best ball, hell, the beauty of best ball is I don't need to know when to start you. You just need to be good at various points throughout the season, so you could throw a little more darts at the quarterback position. But the ability to grab Joe Burrow, pair him up with T. Higgins, have an elite wide receiver like Tyreek Hill, felt really good to do that. So After that selection in round 4, I had the quick pick, and I had to think. I wanted Joe Mixon, and let me just say, whoever this is was an absolute menace who was picking right before me. I mean, I was getting sniped left and right because I had Joe Mixon teed up. I thought I was going to get me some Joe Mixon, and I didn't get any Joe Mixon, and I had to instead settle for another running back, which I like J.K. Dobbins, but I'd rather have Joe Mixon from the perspective that he's on the Bengals, and then I wanted to pair him with Joe Burrow. But to get J.K. Dobbins, what are we looking for here, folks? Trying to teach you, because I see a lot of people getting these, and they're just random as hell, and maybe that's the way to win. But I wanted the correlation, right? There's the correlation. Week 17 correlation, Dolphins versus Ravens, J.K. Dobbins, Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek Hill goes off and he scores a bunch, or J.K. Dobbins has some rushing touchdowns, that game is probably going to be a high-scoring affair. I wanted both sides of that potential outcome. After that one, I just had my fingers crossed because I knew I had a nice little weight that I'd be able to grab somebody from the either the Cardinals game or the Kansas City-Cincinnati game. And Marquise Brown went right there, went a little ahead of where I was picking, but right there at the 70 spot, Kadarius Toney was still chilling there for me. So say what you want about Toney, his ability to stay healthy. I like the correlation of getting Kadarius Toney to go with that matchup of Joe Burrow and T. Higgins in Cincinnati. So felt good about that one. Then I had the quick double back. And right here, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little panicked. At this spot because I kind of wanted another receiver because I don't trust Kadarius Toney that much, but I wanted to stick to the correlation plan and DeAndre Swift, right? Another Philadelphia Eagle. I've got Devonta Smith. Now I got DeAndre Swift. Hopefully that offense steamrolls the Arizona Cardinals. Swift gets him a tutty. Devonta Smith catches a bunch of passes and we're feeling good. And I knew at this moment, another pivot point in the draft for me came in round 8. And what am I going to do with Tua? Because I know, even though I took him in this spot, which is right around his ADP, I knew I didn't even want to risk it with this guy next to me that was just a menace throughout this entire thing. Losing Tua, so we go ahead, and I feel great about the correlation. So we're going to start just doing the connect the dots line, right? We got Tyreek Hill, J.K. Dobbins, and Tua, right? We got 2 Dolphins. We got the Ravens. We got T. Higgins. We got Joe Burrow. Got correlation there, and Kadarius Toney. Boom, boom, boom. Want high-scoring affairs there. Then we just got 2 Eagles in DeAndre Swift and Devontae Smith. So far, feeling damn good about this one. And let's progress down the board. At pick, pick 90, 99, right after the Tua pick, I felt good at running back with Dobbins and Swift. I was like, whatever. Didn't really want James Cook. Alvin Kamara, I thought I might be able to sneak Alvin Kamara back to me in the next round. That was a mistake, right? So as we look ahead, let's jump back up to round 8. So what I could have done outside of Tua was take James Conner, right? Well, James Conner went ahead of me, so I couldn't have taken James Conner. I thought about it, so don't even worry about it. I wanted Kamara, but I opted for Jameson Williams. I know he's out the first 6 weeks of the season, and right now, no correlation with the Dallas-Detroit game, but J-Mo's out those first 6 weeks. He comes back, gets his feet under him. Week 17 versus the Cowboys. You got Diggs and Gilmore, hopefully, trying to occupy Amon-Ra St. Brown and take care of him. Maybe I can tell myself a story where he catches a touchdown pass in that game. So I went J-Mo in round 9. In round 10, coming off of a long wait, this is where, looking at it, should I have taken Khalil Herbert? Maybe he's slated to be the starting running back. And even though I missed out on Alvin Kamara, there was an opportunity to grab Jamal Williams as well, who should be the starting running back if Alvin Kamara is suspended. But I stuck to the correlation plan. I went with Jerick McKinnon, pairing him up with that Kansas City-Cincinnati game, right? I know he's not going to be the lead back, but McKinnon was damn good in the receiving game. And if you're talking about a shootout in that matchup, Jerick McKinnon's probably going to have an opportunity to get his. After that pick, I had to find some correlation with the Eagles game because, remember, I've got DeAndre Swift and I have Devonta Smith. So I went Rondale Moore. And To be honest with y'all, I don't know. I think this is one where I know his ADP is, I believe, 133. So I've reached 10 spots, and I like to stay within a round of value. If I reach within a round, I'm okay. But really looking at this board, I mean, Jacoby Myers is probably outscoring him, like if we're being real. Chigo Conquo, I would have taken the tight end. I don't even have a tight end at this point. Mingo, I thought Tank Bigsby would come back to me, would like to have added him, but I went with the correlation plan. So of all the picks so far, this is the one where I'm just trying to be real with y'all. How much is that one doing to help out the Philadelphia game with Devonta Smith and DeAndre Swift? It's best ball, so maybe. All right, after that, no correlation, but at this point, Jaylen Warren was about getting close to a round after his ADP, so I felt good with adding another running back, right? Sort of, I'm going full RBBC here. He's a backup running back. Swift's a committee back. Dobbins should be the guy. Hopefully that knee is feeling better. So just went with Jaylen Warren there at that spot. Wide receiver room was solid. Felt like I needed the running back more than I needed a KJ Osborne. Didn't want to get too heavy on Chiefs receivers with Rashee Rice right there. So again, Jaylen Warren after ADP felt pretty good. This was the most pain this entire draft. I keep telling you, this guy right here was a menace. And right before my pick, he took Irv Smith. That would have just completed that game stack for me. I would have had Burrow and T. Higgins, Irv Smith, Kadarius Toney, Jerick McKinnon, and he took him one spot before me, and I panicked. I mean, I'm giving myself the sad trombone. I had no clue what to do. At this point, I'm like, shit, that was going to be that's my tight end plan, so I had to alternate on the fly. I'm just thinking, Bryce Young looks pretty good. Maybe he can complete some passes. I don't know about Van Jefferson. I don't know about Alec Pierce or Tyquan Thornton or Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I know Adam Thielen, the veteran, he's going to get some opportunity. They brought him in, accurate young quarterback, just went Adam Thielen, kind of panicked. But through that panic, I really thought about what to do at tight end, and it was just play best ball. And if you go back over to the roster construction, right, give or take, you want in this format 3.5 tight ends, depending on your tight end. If you got Kelsey, you don't need 3. But if you're dumpster diving, like clearly I am, you probably need 3 or maybe even 4. So I knew at that point it was just going to be, I'm just dumpster diving at tight end. I'm just looking for bodies, right? So at 166, I went Sam Laporta, and a little bit of that in my mind correlation with Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is out for a little bit. Sam Laporta, young rookie tight end for Detroit, assume some of those targets. Maybe there's an opportunity for him to give me a couple of spike weeks or floor weeks. Rasheed Shaheed, pure upside pick, no correlation in that game at all. He's a deep threat that late. I'd rather have the potential upside of a Rasheed Shaheed than the safety net of a Hunter Renfrow or the real risk of a player like a Wan'Dale Robinson who's still nursing the ACL. So went with Rasheed Shaheed there. And then I just knew that I was going to have to get 2 tight ends. They needed to correlate. Didn't really care. 2 tight ends that fit the game stack. And those next 2 selections for me were Isaiah Likely and Jake Ferguson. So Isaiah Likely, hell no, I wasn't getting Mark Andrews in that Baltimore-Miami game. But Isaiah Likely, it's Todd Monken. He ran 2 tight ends at Georgia. He had Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard top 20 when they played in PFF receiving grade. He likes to use 2 tight ends, and Isaiah Likely got on the field early as a rookie. I think he's going to be very involved this season for Baltimore. Jake Ferguson, the correlation to this one, we finally got a Dallas Cowboy to pair with the Detroit Lions of Sam Laporta and Jameson Williams. So again, if you're thinking that's going to be a high-scoring game, you just want pieces of the offense. Right now, Jake Ferguson is the starting tight end. I'll take the starting tight end, even if it's 9 picks ahead of ADP. Give me the correlative play and bet in Dallas, Detroit. And then with the final pick, because I only had 4 running backs, I just needed a body. So let me move this down, and I went with old man Leonard Fournette. No team, not signed anywhere right now. I went old man Lenny on that one, just because I know hopefully at some point, hell, bring him in towards closer to the end of the season. That's fine with me. So that's how the board shook out for me. In my opinion, I think where I struggled the most in this one was this cluster right here. Those 4 picks, Rondale Moore. I'm actually fine with Jaylen Warren. Maybe I can talk myself into Adam Thielen, but it was the Rondale Moore pick. I think I reached a little bit just to force the Arizona Philadelphia game. Oh, let me tell you the other son of a bitch that got me is prior to Isaiah Likely, the real plan was Trey McBride. I think Trey McBride is going to be in for a monster season this year. No DeAndre Hopkins. Hollywood Brown hurt every other week. He got integrated in the offense towards the end of last season. So I'm pretty bullish on Trey McBride, but he got zapped right before I got to Isaiah Likely. So that kind of threw me for a loop. I had all 3 of those guys hit on cue, and I really would have gone Trey McBride there, and then whoever would have been left, Likely or Ferguson. And between those 2, I would have taken Jake Ferguson, looking back on this board just to get the correlation there. But that's how this one shook out. I really like this team. And I'll just show you right here what this team looks like. It's a 2-5-8-3 build. Joe Burrow and Tua at quarterback. Dobbins, Swift, McKinnon, Warren, and Fournette at running back. Weak spot at running back for me for sure. I need every ounce of production out of those guys at running back. But I love the receiver room. Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Kadarius Toney, J-Mo, Rondale Moore, Adam Thielen, and Rasheed Shaheed. And then we went with the old tight ends, just dart throw tight ends, not old, but Sam Laporta, backup tight end Isaiah Likely, and Jake Ferguson. And let me just tell you, when I do this and I'm trying to quote unquote force these game stacks, I don't give a damn about what the ADP says. Not really, especially down there. Like I don't care. 190, 207, same damn difference to me. I need to make the correlation. The correlation was a little more important to me in this particular build, but that's how this one shook out. I like the team. Tua, pretty risky. I hope he stays upright, but felt good. And as you look through the value that I got, I mean, I didn't reach too much. Got some value there. A lot of value with Fournette. Reached about 10 spots from McKinnon, but within a round. Got a little bit of value on Higgins and Devontae Smith. The big, 10 pick reach right there on Rondale Moore. Got some value right there with Adam Thielen and Rasheed Shaheed. It was really just those 2 tight ends. So really like this team. As always, appreciate everybody that taps in. I want to try to hit you with these as quick as possible. 25 minutes. Live stream, it takes over an hour. We'll still do some live. But just to get in here and knock it out real quick and talk through different strategies, show you guys some different tools that we use over at Destination Devy. And remember, use that promo code WAKEUP. You get access to these tools for free. But make sure you shout out to Dynasty Coop and support him and the Warp tool. I think it's really cool to see the visualization of where those pockets are, where those players, and he's got them named. So if you get in there, you can kind of see it. So just very, 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 very interesting stuff. Appreciate everybody tapping in. And again, use that promo code WAKEUP for an instant deposit match if you're first time depositor up to $100. 100%. Make sure you tapped in, locked in. I got more of these coming. Let's win that $3 million, baby. I'm out. Peace.